Before I get started, I did want to thank Emily for not putting me immediately after Reverend Todd. Okay. First off, I wanted to inform everyone this speech was not created by artificial intelligence. I did try it, not so good. For the record, I am not a public speaker. Since this is, however, Yom Kippur, I wanted to find the first biblical person who indicated that they were not a good public speaker. That was actually answered in Exodus chapter 4, verse 10. That person was Moses. Please don't put it in the newsletter that I compared myself with Moses. On a more serious note, I would like to thank the board for their support and engagement. I'd also like to thank Emily and George for their leadership. Now I'd like to give a little state of the congregation, which is our goal is to create spiritual wellness within with the tool of community. We have in no particular order. We have interactive weekly services, very interactive. Interactive and collaborative high holiday services, leadership meetings, intergenerational programs, bar mitzvah programs and bar mitzvahs, a Nagun circle, spiritual wellness sessions, interaction with CHC, which is where we are right now, potluck after Shabbat services. For some reason, food seems to be a good draw. Interaction with the associated, interaction with Towson, Hillel, and more. Over the high holidays, we talk about redemption or returning. I find the best way to remember something is through a story. So this particular story is in actuality true. Since it is Yom Kippur, let's talk about cheesesteaks. Yes, seriously, a boy named Frank was from Southside Philly. At age 14, he was recruited and became a neo-Nazi skinhead. He was in jail by age 17 and was released when he was 19. The only job available to him when he was released from prison was moving antique furniture from people's homes to the company store. Frank was told that the owner of the company was a Jewish man named Keith, an important name. Frank had no other options as he still had a swastika tattoo on his neck, no car, and no references on his resume. You can imagine the resume. Keith was told that Frank had been jailed and he was and is still a neo-Nazi skinhead. Frank was driven to work by Keith every day. Towards the end of the first week working for Keith, Frank accidentally dropped and broke an expensive antique that Keith had just purchased. He kept repeating on the car ride home that he was an idiot. Keith said, "You're not an idiot. You're actually very street smart, and stop beating yourself up." Frank assumed that he would either be fired or would have the damages deducted from his pay because Keith was Jewish. Keith dropped Frank off on Friday with no reduction in his pay, and he said, "I'll see you on Monday." That was Frank's aha moment. Frank now indicates that Keith's loving kindness and empathy changed his life. Frank disavowed everything that the skinheads believed in. Frank is actually now a frequent speaker for the Anti-Defamation League. Keith was not trying to change Frank's life, but he did. One person can make a difference. Furthermore, one community can make a difference. It is important for me when I carry the Torah through the sanctuary on Rosh Hashanah that everyone that wanted to touch the Torah had that opportunity. Our Emily encouraged me by pointing out people that I had inadvertently omitted. The point is that our rabbis supported this effort for inclusion and community. It was not planned, it just happened. When I returned to allow people that I omitted the first time to touch the Torah, I saw tears in their eyes. One person can make a difference. One community can make a difference. I really like this quote from Marian Edelman, who is the founder of Children's Defense Fund, a strong voice for children and families. And I'm going to repeat it because to me it's very meaningful. We must not, in trying to think about how we can make a big difference, ignore the small daily differences we can make, which over time add to big differences that we often cannot foresee. I'm going to repeat that. We must not, in trying to think about how we can make a big difference, ignore the small daily differences which we can make, which over time add up to big differences that we often cannot foresee. That's what Doug was talking about. That's what Todd was talking about. Saying hello, not marginalizing people. Our community's magic power in assisting people who feel disconnected or isolated. We have an exceptional leader in this mission, Emily, who is an ordained spiritual director, or she likes to be called spiritual guide. Emily is perfect for this vision as she meets people where they are. She is non-judgmental, empathetic, and she listens actively. To see if we have any good researchers, I'm offering 3 Amazon gift cards after the holidays. The first person to answer correctly gets a $50 gift card, second $25, and the third $18. I want the answer emailed to president@HaLevMD.org, but I want the last name of Keith and anything additional you learned in your research. Also, this is not coming from KHL funds. Winston Churchill said, "We make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give." In conclusion, my ask is to raise $25,000. KHL supporters have met this goal every year since 2016, excluding COVID. In fact, when we moved, we received over 2 times this goal amount. The $25,000 will enable us to pay additional monies so that we can have more access to our incredibly talented rabbi and other people who are assisting in accomplishing our goals. Please help any way that you can. In fact, I do not believe in giving until it hurts. I believe in giving until it feels good. Thank you all. Gamar Khatima Tova.